This continent of AA unfolds, an empire built on faith in the moon. A new continental order has been established where divine arts and dark magic clash. Beneath the watchful moon, secrets stir. Unorthodox powers are strictly forbidden, sealed away from the hearts of men, but in the shadows ancient bloodlines wait. This sun rises on a quiet forest. Something monstrous stalks the undergrowth. A giant boar charges through the trees. It thunders directly into a hidden trap. This beast lets out a furious roar. Its cry echoes toward a distant village. From the shadows, a boy watches his plans succeed. He springs the trap, catching his prize. This boy, Richard, grins in triumph, but an axe suddenly flies from the trees. It strikes the boar, stealing the kill. A group of bullies emerges, claiming the prey. Richard shouts his hard work stolen. Their leader, AA, smirks, denying the theft. He mocks Richard's pathetic little traps meant only for catching rabbits. But Richard's eyes narrow with a hidden plan. This bully accuses him of stealing their kill. His friends back him up, but the kid stands his ground. This insult cuts deep, igniting his fury. This bully slams him to the ground. He sneers, daring him to disagree. Pinned down, our boy refuses to yield. His defiance earns him a brutal kick. This force sends the kid tumbling through the dirt. He looms over him, demanding he submit. Bruised and beaten, he can't get up, but his eyes burn with defiance. This prey is mine. This bully gives a chilling order, beat him senseless. Later that night, an uneasy calm settles. A woman tends to Richard's wounds. She scolds him gently for being reckless. Her hands glow with a soft healing light. He insists he's old enough to handle himself now. In moments, the bruises are completely gone. His mother realizes he's growing up fast. It's time to tell him about the special ritual. She asks if he wants to learn her divine arts. Richard can't believe what he's hearing. As a birthday gift, she'll teach him everything. He's ecstatic, eager to learn her power. With this power, he'll never be a victim again. This woman warns Richard that learning divine arts isn't simple. This church strictly controls who can inherit these powers. This control serves a single vital purpose: to classify and forbid all unorthodox forces, and to keep demonic powers from destroying the world. She explains there's a prerequisite he must meet. He must learn the ancient language and be acknowledged by Alusha, a threshold set to keep evil from gaining divine power. As a birthday gift, she will begin his training today. But Richard reads the ancient script with ease. His caretaker is stunned, demanding to know who taught him. Our boy simply says he read it in a book. She lights candles. The time for secrets is over. She leads him into a room with a glowing seal. Richard points to the book floating within it. She realizes this isn't a coincidence but destiny. This ritual was always meant to be his birthday gift. He seems disappointed until she reveals the book's nature. It's the holy scripture of Alusha, the moon goddess. Richard admits he only recently began to understand its words. She explains only those acknowledged by the goddess can read it. A shocking revelation dawns on them both. Richard has already been chosen by Alusha. He kneels inside the circle to receive his true gift. He will enter the goddess's temple and claim his destiny. A brilliant light engulfs Richard. A voice from his past wishes him luck. His mother warns of a coming choice. She tells him to listen to the goddess and his heart. He's transported to a vast ethereal realm. He stands alone on a massive glowing platform. A mysterious voice asks if he desires power. It claims to be his hidden other half. This world around him explodes with energy. Divine statues of power begin to awaken. Their ancient forms glow with purpose. They surround him as the voice demands a choice. Richard realizes this is the test his mother mentioned. This first option appears: enlightenment. This second is a statue for healing. Then retribution and silver moon armament. Judgment and foresight make 6 choices, not 3. He's pressured to choose, but he doesn't understand. His mind races, searching for an answer. A painful memory of being attacked flashes by. He remembers being weak, wanting to be stronger. He remembers his vow to protect his mother. His desire to grow up and become a real man. Her voice echoes that exact phrase back to him. She reminds him one last time, follow your heart. His eyes flare with sudden understanding. He screams his choice to the heavens. He wants the wisdom to become a man. This system accepts his choice of wisdom. A path opens to a 7th statue. Before him, a colossal shadow emerges. He reads the name of the divine art. A winged stone behemoth rises from the light. It is called the dark side of the moon. Dark energy pulses from its ancient form, but the world demands balance for every gain. What price must be paid for such power? A memory surfaces of a woman's gentle hand. This 2 of them are inside a glowing circle. This white-haired woman calls his name Richard. He groans as dark energy envelops him. A sudden noise puts him on high alert. A shadow creature lunges straight for the woman. Its eye glows with a cold, sinister light. Richard's consciousness drifts into a void. He hears his name being called desperately. This creature attacks as she screams for her child. She is thrown violently across the room. She can't believe this is happening now, not during her sacred enlightenment. A memory surfaces of his early lessons. He was questioned about his ancient knowledge, but his true power comes from elsewhere. His eyes blaze with sudden focus. He lands hard on the wooden deck. A clash of divine and shadow magic. He activates a divine art foresight. A vision floods his mind. Alusha activates a spell from a book. She confirms the presence of shadow creatures. A shadow tendril grabs Richard. This vision overwhelms him with pain. A burst of blinding light. He's back in the room with Alusha. She realizes the chaotic creatures are here. They have breached the sacred domain. She explains the ancient war between planes. Evil shadow races seek to corrupt all worlds. Their darkness touched this continent long ago. These beings feed on magic and twist minds. They turn believers into their dark agents. A holy alliance once drove them back, but no one expected Alucia herself to fall. Now Richard is a beacon for the shadows. He faces two terrible outcomes. She fears losing control of her body forever. Is this a punishment from her goddess? If she were still the high priest, the enlightenment would never have mutated. She refuses to let this happen. She frantically searches the room for a solution. Tearing open a drawer, she finds it. An old scroll bound in gold. She recalls the one who destroyed the elven court. That person is their only hope now. She channels her power, activating the scroll. A name appears in blinding magical script. This burning light is a signal to its owner, a call that Richard can somehow sense. This scene shifts to 11 years ago. A woman named Alina is told they're out of time. A horned man will hold off their pursuers alone. He begs her to save their child. Alina is devastated, unable to leave him. He entrusts her with their son's future and his true name. Back in the present, Alina unleashes her power. She has hidden with their child for a decade, but now their son needs his father. A massive beacon of light erupts from the church. Richard awakens in her arms. Richard wakes up, his head pounding. He looks up at his mother, confused. She reveals her true elven form. His memory flashes back to the trial. He was pulled into a strange, empty void. A silent moon delivered a cryptic message. His mother latches onto the word truth. Richard knows it's not a normal ability. She senses a dangerous implication, a flicker of understanding in her eyes, this power to perceive the world's reality. He feels his senses have been sharpened. She thinks of his demon bloodline. She tells him not to dwell on it for now, but there's something else he needs to know. At 10 years old, he's ready for the truth. He grins, expecting another birthday present. It's about your father, she says grimly. She asks if he wants to finally meet him. He always believed his father was dead. She apologizes for the long-held secret. An envoy from his father is on their way. This question hangs heavy in the air. He looks at his mother, understanding her hope. Then I want to meet him too. Her eyes fill with a sad, gentle light. She thanks him, calling him her child. They share a final, desperate embrace. She confesses her time to protect him is running out. This scene shifts to a peaceful, sunlit field. A sudden thud shatters the calm. A young farmer looks up, sensing trouble. His eyes widen in pure terror. Armored knights thunder into the village. Heavy cavalry in a place like this. A knight looms over him, demanding answers. A blade flashes through the air. This knight asks for someone named Alina. His straw hat is sliced clean in two. This terrified villagers deny everything. They insist no one named Alina lives here, but a subordinate confirms the signal's location. This scarred captain trusts his intel. He gives a grim, silent nod. If they won't talk, there's another way. He orders a full search of the village. Voice cuts through the chaos. Stop. A hooded woman steps forward from the distance. She announces her presence. I'm here. This villagers gasp. It's Alina. A quiet home is suddenly disturbed. A knight kneels before the hooded woman. He is Sir Mordred, here to take her home. This village erupts into a panic. Word spreads of knights at Richard's house. A boy points, shouting for everyone to look. A gasp ripples through the crowd. This secret is out. Alina is an elf. She introduces Richard to Sir Mordred. This knight acknowledges the boy with respect. Villagers stare, stunned by the revelation. This archer boy is left speechless. Mordred asks if she's ready to leave. Richard looks up, his world changing. His mother promises he will be safe. She reminds him of their agreement. It's time to finally meet his father. Her hand slips from his. A final, painful separation. This night's locked down the entire village. No one is allowed to leave until they depart. Mordred watches, his expression grim. Richard is put on a horse, a noble's child. This heir to the Archeron bloodline, but as they ride, a scout screams, Alina is gone. A knight questions the lady's whereabouts. Suddenly, a soldier screams, the village is on fire. This young man panics, it's Alina's house. A rider brings an urgent, horrifying report. This lady returned home and set herself ablaze. This boy's world shatters into a million pieces. He screams for his mother, trying to run back. A guard grabs him, holding him tight. He struggles, yelling this wasn't the plan. His face twists in absolute agony. Pinned to the ground, he begs to be let go. This captain orders him to calm down, that it was her choice. He calls her sacrifice pure. She burned her life away to protect what she cherished. He tells the boy not to disappoint her expectations. A memory surfaces under the pale moonlight. His mother tells a younger Richard they must leave soon. She explains her past negligence forced her to seek his father. Their history was complicated, forcing them into hiding. This recent ceremony revealed her true elven form. He asks with wide eyes, "You're sick, Mom?" She says her illness is incurable, that a sacrifice is needed. She must leave him with his father to seek treatment. This boy refuses, wanting to stay by her side. She holds his face, pleading for him to understand. A memory of his mother's gentle face. She promised she would always be with him, but now Richard lies unconscious in a hay cart. A knight orders the carriage to leave first. They had no choice but to knock the boy out. This captain's plan spread rumors of the lady's death. Lord Gatton wants no witnesses to the child's location. This final order is given: seal the village and kill everyone. Flames engulf the town as people scream. In another memory, Richard asks about his father. His mother called him a madman, a genius of war, a man whose power shook the entire Holy Alliance. He is now a duke living in the Black Rose Castle. Richard wakes with a gasp. He cries out for his mother. He finds himself in an unfamiliar, lavish room. He has no idea where he is. He looks around the opulent chamber. His last memory is of a knight pinning him down. This realization hits him with a jolt of fear. He leaps from the bed desperate to find her. A sudden knock echoes from the door. Richard freezes asking who is there. This heavy door swings open. A woman tells him she's brought him new clothes. This boy wakes up, his clothes gone. A woman's voice directs him from afar. She gives him a command: clean yourself. This lord is waiting to see him. He walks through the silent, opulent halls. This sheer scale of the mansion is overwhelming. Dressed in unfamiliar finery, he feels out of place. Candlelight flickers, casting long shadows. He ascends the grand staircase alone. Every step echoes with a heavy tension. A voice calls down from the balcony above. This man introduces himself, Richard Archerin. He looks at the boy, claiming him as his own blood. Later, they sit for a tense meal. Richard Archerin cuts his food with cold precision. This boy eats wary and silent. This man mentions his mother, Alina. This boy freezes, his face twisting with anger. Richard Archerin speaks of Alina's great sacrifices. This boy clenches his fist. My name is Richard. But the man dismisses his chosen name. He reveals Alina entrusted the boy to him, declaring him a true heir of the Archerin bloodline, a noble family that fell from grace. Their history of madness made them outcasts. Among the old nobles, one has a strange taste, a preference for raw meat. He demands it fresh, cut from a living body. This man is known as Bloodthirsty Philip. And he is the emperor of the Holy Alliance Empire. A cruel, bloodthirsty man rules this land, yet the Acheron family are called the outcasts. Richard must gain power to survive this world. He finally understands his parents' sacrifices, but his father calls it refusal, not resistance. A refusal to be controlled by the corrupt. He warns the boy the world is not so simple. A servant suddenly interrupts their talk. A report from the front: spies have been caught. Gatton gives a chilling order: leave no survivors. He then tasks a young woman with watching Richard. This boy is stunned to learn he has a half-sister. He runs after his father, demanding an answer. What did mother mean to you? This answer is brutal. She means nothing. Her only wish was for Gatton to raise him, but his father offers no direct help or power. Richard must seize the opportunities he is given. A memory of his mother's love for this man surfaces. A horse rears, ready to depart. This scarred escort pushes onward. 2 days later, they reach Mage Tower City. A new mentor awaits young Master Richard. This tower pulses with raw magic. Richard is stunned by the legendary city. He's surrounded by aspiring mages. This world was once just a storybook dream, but the mentor scoffs at past friendships. This escort insists Richard's talent is exceptional. This mentor demands to test the boy's potential first. In this world, magic is a rare gift. Only those with special bloodlines can learn. A fountain was built to rate every candidate. This test overwhelms another hopeful. Onlookers mock the weak results. This escort tells Richard to be ready. This crowd scoffs at the kid's simple appearance. He steps into the fountain of rating. Raw magic floods his body. This force knocks his escort back. He remembers the sacrifices made for him. He refuses to let his mentor look down on him. 10 minutes pass, shocking everyone. This result is gold, advanced level, but something else stirs within the light. A blood moon hangs over a dark Gothic castle. A terrifying black energy erupts from the boy. This onlookers are stunned by this unknown magic. This protector, Gatton, recognizes a shadow creature. He recalls a desperate plea from the past. A woman named Mordred begged him to protect Richard. Gatton swore his life to the task, a promise he fully intends to keep. He leaps into the fray to save the boy. Richard is trapped inside a storm of shadows. Gatton descends, but the energy is too strong. He strains against the overwhelming power. His human body is reaching its absolute limit. Mages across the land sense the disturbance. They send an urgent call for a legendary mage. A brilliant light pierces the sky. A powerful sorceress descends in a flash of power. Another legendary mage appears, speaking of a promise. He reveals Richard was chosen by shadow creatures. This mage unleashes a devastating holy attack. Gatton screams out for young Master Richard. This pink-haired mage Sue Helen addresses the boy. She declares him qualified to be her student. This scene shifts to a quiet tower at night. Suddenly, the world is consumed by fire. A foot steps into a sea of fire. A memory of a mother and child separated by flames. Richard watches the inferno, calling for his mom. A hand reaches for her, but she's lost to the blaze. He jolts awake with a scream. His eyes snap open, filled with terror and confusion. An old mage looms over his bed, telling him not to fear. He introduces himself as Richard's new magic instructor. Richard is baffled, not recognizing the name Sue Helen. He questions where he is and what has happened. This mage explains there was an accident at the fountain. His memory of the event is a complete blank. Elsewhere, a woman analyzes Richard's balanced but strange powers. She turns to the knight Mordred with a warning. Mordred stands firm. His duty is to protect the boy. She questions his loyalty, asking if he'd die for him. Amused, she then presents an enormous bill for her services. When asked to run a tab, she explodes with anger. But the mention of a negotiation piques her interest. Mordred explains the dire truth of Richard's shadow power. Only she can suppress it, and she demands a steep price. Mordred is confused by her specific terms. She clarifies with a greedy, triumphant grin. He says the price is too high, but she holds all the cards. Mordred relents, promising to negotiate with his lord. This pink-haired woman offers a new deal. This armored man agrees to seek permission. This scene shifts to a quiet moonlit night. In his room, Richard sleeps fitfully. He wakes up troubled by a nightmare. His eyes snap open, a memory flooding back, a vision of a dark castle under a red moon. He questions if the dream was real. A strange digital card appears in his hand. He rubs his eyes thinking he's seeing things, but a blue light activates in his eye. Suddenly his vision is filled with numbers, they're projected onto the walls and overlaid on every object. Richard panics surrounded by falling code. He wonders if his mind is breaking. He looks into a basin of water. His reflection stares back with a glowing eye. He forces himself to calm down. This isn't a dream. A strange new clarity takes hold. His body feels stronger, his senses sharper. He realizes these numbers must mean something. He focuses trying to understand the data. This code resolves into detailed information. He can see the complete data of everything around him. This world around him shatters into code. His eyes can now see the true nature of things, a power that reveals all of reality's secrets. This sudden influx of knowledge is agonizing. He remembers a choice he was forced to make. A vision of a dark castle flashes through his mind. A door creaks open, pulling him from the memory. He's on the floor being called Student Richard. A voice warns him not to be late for his first day. He finds himself outside a grand magic academy. An instructor leads him away from the main building. Richard questions why he's being separated from the others. This teacher says a legendary mage requested his special training. He opens the door to a small plain room. Richard is pulled inside, confused by the simple classroom. This old mage simply tells him to be patient. This teacher touches a strange glowing clock. Golden light envelops Richard as space begins to bend. They step through a shimmering portal. This instructor announces their arrival. Richard's eyes widen, stunned by what he sees. This small room has opened into a massive hall. This instructor welcomes him to the mirror classroom. He introduces himself as Teacher Popovich. This first lesson begins, the primal force of all creation. This chaotic void holds countless worlds. Each plane is defined by unique rules. This is the Norland continent, a high-level plane, and in this world there is magic. To the untrained eye, it seems ordinary. Perception is everything. This teacher explains a deeper truth. What you perceive is only a projection. Richard struggles with the abstract lesson. This legendary mage insisted he learn this. Magic circles are a fundamental rule here. His first task, design his own. This boy accepts the challenge. 2 months pass in a flash. A powerful presence arrives. This legendary mage returns. She's been away collecting debts. An urgent request awaits her attention, but she's more interested in Richard. Popovich reveals the boy's surprising progress. His talent for design is extraordinary. This legendary mage is taken aback. She doubts an apprentice could draw this. He confirms it was the work of one boy. This news is simply impossible to believe. A sudden magical disturbance erupts. It lights up the entire night sky. This source is a young boy celebrating his success. After months of training, Richard has mastered his power. He's created his very own spell. This mages recognize the signature. It's Richard's. This pink-haired mage marvels at his prodigious talent. She asks Popovich about the dark aura around him. This elder mage confirms the aura remains, but Richard is fighting it. Satisfied, she decides it's time for the next step. 7 months pass at Deep Blue Academy. This first day of the new term begins. A teacher directs the students but is interrupted. She turns, recognizing the voice. Her eyes widen in realization. It's Richard, looking older and more confident. She recalls seeing him months ago at the fountain. This kid has grown up fast. She begins his tour of the massive campus. This is where his classes will be held. They finally reach his first magic theory lesson. This teacher offers him a word of caution, but Richard reassures her with a confident smile. Inside, rumors of the new student are already spreading. Word is out, he's the legendary mage's apprentice. This teacher calls for quiet. A new student steps forward. His name is Richard. A rumor immediately spreads. Is he the legendary mage's student? This class erupts in disbelief. This teacher tries to calm them. But Richard speaks for himself. He's never met the legendary mage, he's just a regular student. This students dismiss the rumor. This blonde student scoffs in contempt. This bell rings, ending the lesson. Everyone rushes out to play, but Richard finds the class boring. He's far beyond this level, a flashback to his mentor Popovich. Popovich explains his rapid progress, but joining the school is a must. He questions his unseen mentor. Popovich insists he be grateful. Everything has been arranged by her. Back in the present, he needs a challenge. Suddenly a voice calls out. This blonde student attacks, calling him a liar. On the balcony, a student points down. A fight is broken out below. A furious student, Papin, grabs Richard by the hair. He screams at him, calling him a non-stop liar and an unworthy student for the legendary mage. Onlookers whisper certain the new kid is in trouble. 2 girls explain Papin's long-held jealousy and his failed plan to isolate Richard. Papin looms over him, his anger boiling over. He's waited all day to see what makes Richard so special. From above, a student named Randolph is accused of orchestrating this. Randolph claims he only wanted to test the new kid's pride. He's warned not to let things go too far, but he smirks, completely unconcerned. Papin grabs Richard's collar, screaming in his face. He calls him a weakling hiding in a shell. A memory flashes through Richard's mind. His master's voice explains a true mage needs a strong body. Richard accepted the 6 months of hellish training. He trained for strength. He studied for wisdom. He pushed his body past its limits, forging a powerful physique. In the present, he brings it all together. His hand snaps up, catching Papin's wrist. This bully freezes his face, contorting in shock and pain. Papin lies defeated on the ground. His face twists with shock and rage. He rises, his hand glowing with power. He's a level 2 mage and he unleashes a fireball. But the white-haired student prepares a counter. He remains calm in the face of the attack. Papin stares in disbelief. This kid unleashes a massive level 3 spell. A fire whirlwind and area denial attack. He notes his instant casting is only 87% accurate. Even with his truth-seeing ability, it's not perfect. The spell's power cracks the stone wall. This onlookers are stunned by his raw strength. A new student using a level 3 spell is unheard of. Our boy admits he got carried away. This brown-haired student sees an opportunity. He tosses a scroll down to Papin. Papin catches it confused. This student reminds him of their deal. This white-haired mage tells his friends to get back. Papin channels a forbidden level of magic. He tells the kid this is his own fault. He screams that this power isn't for him. A level 5 spell engulfs the area. It's telekinesis and our boy is trapped. His friend watches in horror. A level 5 spell. This caster Papin is shocked by his own power. It's the magic of a legend and Richard is trapped. From a balcony, the red-hooded instructor smirks. Richard is completely paralyzed, unable to counter. A piercing noise assaults his mind. Another instructor worries Richard will be driven insane, but the red-hooded one wants to push him to the brink. Richard struggles against the mental attack, a silent scream of defiance. Suddenly the spell seems to reverse. Papin recoils, struck by a strange energy. Dark shadowy tendrils erupt from Richard. Papin collapses, screaming in agony. Chaos spreads as students see him break down. They report that Papin has suddenly gone mad, and on the floor Richard lies unconscious. This red-hooded instructor fumes, his plan ruined. He spots the magic circle draft on the ground. He moves to retrieve the evidence of his crime, but a foot steps on the scroll. A dark-haired mage presents the draft to an official. This red-hooded instructor freezes, his identity exposed. She declares the duel had a mastermind. Elsewhere, a report confirms it. Richard unleashed an unseen energy that broke his opponent's mind. Popovich theorizes the shadow power hijacked her spell. This means Richard is using it unconsciously. This legendary mage orders her to watch him. Meanwhile, Randolph is seen bound in chains. This council debates his fate. One mage suggests selling his apprentice slot for cash. Another argues the position is too prestigious to sell, but their finances are in a dire state. Her Highness Helen enters the argument. She knows this path damages her reputation. It's a dead end, a choice between money and honor. Her advisors ask for her decision. She smiles with a greedy glint in her eye. She declares she will take them all. Her advisors are stunned by her avarice. Back with Popovich, the legendary mage returns to Richard. He notes the boy's surprising power. Popovich credits Richard's hidden trait. His past year wasn't just about magic. It was a trial of body and mind. His determination is what drives him. He remembers his mother's sacrifice. He is determined to grow stronger, strong enough to protect what matters. Popovich sees his immense potential. A grand door creaks open. Richard steps into the room, surprising a blonde woman. She greets him with a cold familiarity, revealing herself as his half-sister. This scene shifts to Black Rose Castle 3 days prior. A man with striking hair receives a report. Richard has grown stronger this past year. He orders Des to settle a debt and stay in Deep Blue Tower City, but Des is worried about her ailing mother. She begs to stay, but he is unmoved. In the Acheron family, the useless are cast aside. She has no choice but to obey. This lord reveals Richard has a special condition. He's already tapping into a dangerous shadow power. Her mission, stay by his side and watch him. She must also bring a fallen noble girl. Des notes the girl is on another mission. He orders her recalled immediately. Her true purpose is to continue the bloodline with Richard. 1 year later, the seasons have changed. Students complain about the new semester. In her room, Des prepares for the day. She looks out over the bustling city. A year has passed and this place feels more like home. She thinks of Richard, his birthday approaching. Richard trains relentlessly for the new semester. He collapses onto the floor, utterly spent. But he knows what's coming next. A maid greets him with a cheerful smile. He recalls his half-sister Des arriving a year ago. At least once a week, this strange ritual begins. This maid serves a meal, urging him to eat. Before him sits a monstrous plate of food. This first course, Komodo land dragon ribs, followed by a grotesque deep-sea swordfish, and a flaming mug of dwarven warrior's ale. Every time she serves these bizarre, powerful ingredients. But something else bothers him even more. This maid who came with Des always wears a strange outfit. She notices his hesitation, asking why he isn't eating. Richard stammers, blaming his lack of appetite on training. She insists, explaining the food will boost his strength. She quotes a saying about needing a dragon's appetite. She encourages him to enjoy the meal she prepared, promising to use all her skills to serve him. With no other choice, he begins to eat. His body overheats and he collapses from the strain. This maid worries she used too much seasoning. Or perhaps the year-long regimen is finally taking full effect. He awakens later in a bath with no memory of what happened. This young master relaxes in a bath, feeling dizzy. Suddenly, a voice startles him. His attendant is in the bathroom with him. She says it's her duty to care for him. This food he ate contained a special ingredient. He lurches out of the tub, his body out of control. She cries out as they both start to fall. They collapse onto the hard floor. He lands directly on top of her. Her face flushes as she looks up at him. This young master is stunned by their position. He stammers out a frantic apology, but she grabs his arm, telling him it's fine. Her voice is soft and reassuring. She confesses she's waited for this moment. This chapter credits roll on her words. This scene returns to the bathroom. She explains the food's effects were cumulative, and now she belongs to him completely. Back in the tub, water splashes. He's too weak to even stand on his own. She offers her assistance. He looks on, bewildered by her actions. She moves closer, her intentions clear. Her only purpose is to serve him. She explains her only purpose, but Richard is completely overwhelmed. Her mission was to calm him down. She recalls her past as a fallen noble. Her family's failure sealed her fate. She was destined to be sold as a slave, but a different path was chosen for her. She was sworn to serve the Archeron family. Her old chains were broken, only to be replaced by a new duty. Richard's eyes widen with realization. He remembers his half-brother's cruelty. This memory of his coldness resurfaces. This woman is startled by his reaction. He pushes back, shouting, "She's no slave." A memory of his mother appears. He repeats her lessons on compassion. "You are not a tool," he declares. His words finally reach her. She whispers his name in gratitude. Richard short-circuits, completely stunned. She looks at him in confusion. This emotional shock is too much. She realizes he's passed out again. His mother's words echo in her heart. His identity is finally confirmed. A new servant, Aaron, pledges loyalty to Richard. This next morning at the Grand Academy, but Richard is nowhere to be found. His instructor learns he's supposedly sick. This old mage suspects he's simply slacking off. A planned meeting between new students is postponed. From the shadows, another student watches. He steps forward, wanting to apologize for his brother. This is Stevenson, son of Duke Salem. Other students recognize his family emblem. This instructor walks with him, praising Richard's achievements. He mentions Her Highness is confident in Richard's future. In fact, she has even greater hopes for him, believing he could become a legendary holy constructor. Stevenson admits his own talents are different, but that doesn't lessen his anticipation. He's eager to meet the one Her Highness values. Elsewhere at the Deep Blue Central Library, Her Highness is busy making important guests wait. An attendant apologizes to a waiting woman. Suddenly, a hand grabs the woman's shoulder. She turns, startled by the voice. A book floats down from the balcony above. She reaches for the strange gift, confused. This pink-haired woman issues a warning and a penalty. A mysterious green book appears. This blonde librarian is stunned, demanding to know how. This schemer smirks, claiming nothing escapes her notice. Her plan is revealed: replace a student and extort a fortune. A new location, the disorienting mirror classroom. A young man, Stevenson, introduces himself to Miss Minnie. Miss Minnie dismisses his formal tone, claiming she's more mature. She reveals she knows he's a rare dragon-blood sorcerer. Stevenson smiles, deciding to be direct. He prepares to make a bold proposal. An alliance between the Neo-Marquis and Salem families. A chance to fix what his foolish brother ruined. He proposes a new engagement. Miss Minnie is shocked by the sudden offer. She calls it ridiculous, as they've only just met. Stevenson argues that such marriages are about interests, not affection. She's already tired of the Salem family's boring proposals. He backs down slightly, asking her to simply consider it. He preaches a mage's virtue, rationality, and composure. Her eyes narrow, analyzing his every word. He takes her hand, offering a gentlemanly apology. He promises to prove his sincerity in the future. Her expression remains guarded, unreadable. She pulls away, thinking sweet words are the cheapest gifts. A powerful woman appears, Her Highness Helen. She appraises a young man with dragon blood. She boasts of an intimidating aura against dragons. This young man claims her power has no effect. She offers her help if he ever needs it, but a dark aura reveals her true nature. He feels the immense pressure of her power. She changes the subject, asking about his father Salem. He reports his father has reached the legendary realm. He chose the path of an anti-magic shadow warrior. A choice that clearly surprises Helen. He confirms the decision, hinting at a past defeat. She plans to visit her old friend and delegates' tasks. She wanted to meet another student, Richard, who fell ill. An aide is ordered to monitor Richard's condition. This young man, Stevenson, is told to enjoy academy life. He closes his eyes, processing the command. He agrees, watching his new master depart. 1 week passes in a blur of autumn leaves. Back at the academy, life continues. Our boy is hard at work studying magic formations. Richard uses his truth ability to deconstruct a magic circle. This data floods his vision, a blueprint for new power. He calculates the dimensions, but the system glitches, displaying the maid's measurements instead. Richard clutches his chest, completely bewildered. This maid, Aaron, says he's been muttering numbers. He's surprised to see a normal-looking dessert. Aaron explains she was told to stop giving him tonics. He shouts back, flustered, blaming her for last week. She offers herself to him for the week, but he refuses. He complains about her revealing outfit. She says this special uniform is just for him. Richard changes the subject to his homework. Aaron offers her help, revealing she knows magic. She explains her training, her mana nearing level 3. She's also an information gatherer, investigating his classmates. She says intel on those around him is vital. Richard recalls missing a meeting for a legendary mage's students. He asks her to investigate a new student named Stevenson. Aaron's eyes gleam with purpose. She holds out her hand, demanding payment. 1 gold coin is her fee for gathering intel. It's the code of an information agent. Later, the sun sets over a clock tower. Erin realizes she's lost track of time. She rushes through the city worried about breaking the rules. In her haste, she bumps into a cloaked stranger. This stranger stops her, calling out. He knows her name, asking if she is Miss Erin. This hooded woman demands to know his identity. He reveals her secret. She is Richard's slave. As the sun sets on the city, she turns and flees into the night. She races down the grand stone staircase. Her mind reels thinking about the mysterious man. He knows her entire hidden background. Her hand trembles as she clutches her cloak. Trapped, she resolves to use a teleportation circle. A single gold coin is the price of escape. But she knows anyone with that information is dangerous. Her eyes harden with determination. A voice cuts through the air calling her Miss Erin. He taunts her for trying to pay, knowing she was sold as property. He claims he won't harm her, offering a deal instead. A bag of 200 gold coins lands before her. Erin stares, stunned by the sudden turn of events. This man finally steps into the light. He introduces himself as Stevenson. She realizes he's a solemn heir, the one she was sent to investigate. This name, Solemn, freezes her in place. Stevenson says it's a name she can't forget. A memory surfaces, a young girl in chains before a red banner. He was her very first master. Her composure completely shatters. A blonde man grabs the maid by her collar. He reminds her of her family's past service. He declares their old bond must be reestablished. This man reveals he's investigated her thoroughly, but her recent choices have left him puzzled. He mocks her for choosing a slave for the Archeron family. He's talking about Richard Archeron. This marquis is known for breaking all the rules. He recalls a past battle involving a legendary mage. This Archeron family profited from the conflict, claiming her as property. She was just another asset acquired in the aftermath. His intel says she's grown close to the Archeron child. He pins her against a wall, making a crude remark. She struggles, pleading for him to let go. He offers her a deal, 200 gold coins to buy her freedom. She trembles, asking what he truly wants. A hand moves in a blur, her eyes widen in shock. He makes his demand, become his woman. He doesn't mind taking a slave as his partner, an offer to escape her status and become a duchess. He pressures her to agree to his help, but suddenly a magic seal ignites nearby. Blue lightning crackles around his hands. He spins around, sensing an intruder. A man scoffs at the men of the Solemn family. A woman in a witch hat dismisses his words. He's surprised she followed him into the alley. He claims it's a misunderstanding, just a transaction. But the name on his lips is Richard Archeron. This man tries to reason with Miss Minnie of the Neo family. He reminds her of her family's lost territory seized by an Archeron general. Soon Richard's father will join the war and her family is doomed. He brings up a past betrayal, claiming he understands her choice. He fears their engagement will be meaningless if her family falls. If Neo is defeated, she'll be no better than the servant Erin. 1 month later, the academy test results are posted. Richard Archeron has taken first place again. He dismisses the praise, turning to his sister Des. Richard asks where Erin has been for the past month. Des says Erin took leave and hasn't reported back. A new maid assures him his needs will be met. Richard's expression darkens with suspicion. He stands alone, lost in thought among the falling leaves. Memories of his time with Erin flash through his mind. He remembers her promise to belong only to him. This scene shifts to a grand sunlit building. Inside a classroom, a voice calls out to Venus. A famous statue stands before the students. This new painting instructor begins his first lesson. An art instructor lectures on the beauty of incompleteness, but Richard is lost in a memory of a maid. This instructor snaps him out of his daydream. He challenges Richard to share his thoughts on the statue. Other students gossip, calling him complacent. Richard stands, admitting he was distracted. He claims it's because he already understands the art. A digital interface scans the sculpture before him. He begins a flawless technical breakdown of its proportions. This entire classroom is stunned into silence. He explains the complex aesthetics of its balance. He calmly asks the master painter if he is correct. This instructor is shocked, admitting the analysis is perfect. He praises Richard and assigns homework: paint their ideal woman. This other students resent his overwhelming talent. Richard remains alone, defined by his excellence. After class, a young woman waits for him. She introduces herself as Erin. A memory flashes, Erin barging into his room as a maid. He was changing, flustered by her presence. Another memory of her offering him a massage. She insists on becoming his friend and confidant. Back in the present, Richard is lost in thought at the library. A classmate notes his strange, distracted behavior. Richard walks off, still deep in his own world. A lone person walks the empty streets. From a window, a student named Richard watches. His eye scans the person's biometrics. This data confirms his suspicion. It's Erin leaving the dorms late at night. She looks panicked, desperate to escape. He calls out her name, telling her to stop. His power of truth is never wrong. He quickly draws a magic circle. A spell sends him flying from the building. She tries to outrun the gust of wind. He lands right behind her. Richard grabs her arm, stopping her flight. He pulls her close, demanding answers. She tells him to let go. She insists this is her own business, but his scan reveals bruises on her neck. Her heart rate is dangerously high. His analysis confirms she's been crying. He demands to know who hurt her. He can't understand her silence. She finally breaks, screaming she needs money to escape slavery. He offers to help, to give her anything, but she refuses his charity. She doesn't want to earn it his way. A voice calls down from the rooftops. Richard looks up, spotting someone near the dormitory. A stranger appears claiming to be a fellow student. He extends a hand for an introduction, but Richard is in no mood for pleasantries. This stranger leaves with a cryptic warning. Richard races through the moonlit grounds, his eyes burn with rage, demanding to know who's there. Dark energy swirls around his clenched fist. He launches himself into the night. Crows scatter from the academy tower. He swears he will find his target. This next day, students fill the library. Richard sits surrounded by stacks of books. He realizes the culprit came from the dorms. He remembers the injured Erin. This one who hurt her must be here. He scans the students in the courtyard. This attacker is somewhere on this campus. His gaze settles on the main academy building. Richard approaches Instructor Popovich with a request. This instructor asks what he needs. Richard asks for permission to enter Sunset Alley for research. Popovich warns him it's a dangerous, lawless place. He flatly denies the request, citing academy rules. Richard desperately pleads with Instructor Popovich. He invokes his status as a legendary Mage student, but Popovich cites his duty to protect all students. He then offers a bit of advice as a friend. He points Richard toward the new art instructor, Master Painter. A new plan forms and Richard rushes away. Popovich calls out to him one last time. A stark warning: break the rules and there's no exception. Her Highness is watching everything within the academy. This target, the flamboyant Master Painter, Richard knows the key to reaching him is through a truly sincere work of art. This art class ends for the day. This instructor pours a drink, glad it's over. He resents teaching students with no artistic sense. He sifts through the students' clumsy assignments. This amateurish work gives him a headache. He notices all the art styles feel wrong for this world. Then he finds the painting from the top student, Richard. It's a breathtaking portrait bathed in golden light. Suddenly a knock at his door. This instructor has summoned Richard to his office. Our boy stands calmly waiting for the reason. This master painter wants to make a deal. He wants to acquire the masterpiece for his collection. A painting captures a quiet moment. This master painter is impressed by the art. Richard listens, his expression unreadable, but the painter questions his strange request. He fears the legendary Mage's wrath. Richard reveals he knows about the underground art trade and the smuggling of restricted magic blueprints. This painter explodes in denial. He demands proof of these wild accusations. But his racing heart betrays his fear. Richard confirms he has the evidence. He reminds the painter of his connections. He is from the Archeron family. This painter's face falls. He immediately surrenders. But Richard isn't finished with him yet. He has another demand. He needs the painter's network to find a mentor who teaches killing skills. 2 days later, a figure teleports into Sunset Alley. A hooded guide greets the newcomer. Richard arrives alone, presenting a letter of introduction. This guide leads him into the city's dark heart, a place where desperation lines the streets. They reach their destination, a hidden doorway. A voice mocks the painter as Richard reveals his face. A scarred assassin named Nea is intrigued. 1 month later, in a dark, bustling alley, a hooded figure with green eyes observes the chaos. He bumps into a cart carrying contraband. His gaze is sharp, his purpose clear. He's not after the goods, but a painting. Back in the training grounds, a blade flashes. Nea ends the session. The kid pays him in gold. This assassin warns him about coming here alone. But the kid is confident he can read killing intent. Nea laughs at his bold declaration. This boy lays out the cold logic of profit, but the assassin has already investigated him. He knows the kid is a student of Helen. He's learning to kill outside the academy's strict rules. This assassin's expression hardens. This kid reveals his true goal is to find someone. He needs to learn a unique detection technique. He asks the master painter to find him a mentor. This painter is flustered by the dangerous request, but the kid insists the painter's knowledge is vast. He begins to explain the power of construct mages. They are creators hailed as legendary beings, but to the ruling class they are a lethal threat. Their magic can bring a nation to ruin. This master painter realizes he's been seen through a trait of the legendary Archeron bloodline. Richard explains the world's delicate military balance. It all revolves around construct mages. Their knight legions are symbols of ultimate power, and their magic diagrams are priceless treasures. He accuses the painter of smuggling these diagrams. This man confesses, claiming it was to repay a debt, a crime absolutely forbidden in Deep Blue. But Richard reveals he knows another secret. This painter's old codename, Calamity Blade, a name with a massive bounty on its head. This old assassin is impressed by the kid's nerve, but he claims the detection technique is now useless. Richard tells him not to worry. He'll become a construct mage himself. 1 month later, Richard studies relentlessly. A sudden burst of smoke from his room. This staff worries about his strange behavior. Miss Des fears he's become a gambler. Suddenly, a triumphant shout from inside. This door flies open with a crash. Richard emerges ecstatic and disheveled. He yells for them to bring Aaron's clothes. He spent a month recreating the detection spell. Richard reveals a new detection spell. It uses the beast scent to trigger an alert, but the spell is only 50% effective. To improve it, he needs better materials. He must become a construct mage. He goes to his instructor, Popovich. Richard argues his skills surpass the requirements. Popovich reminds him of the strict academy rules, but Richard insists his potential is undeniable. He declares becoming a construct mage his destiny. This instructor sees a vision of greatness. He agrees to write a recommendation letter. He must pass a test for the legendary Archmage Phil. Popovich tells him to prepare a beginner's diagram, but Richard already has one ready. He arrives at the exam registration area. Students gather around a strange clock tower kiosk. He submits his diagram for the test. Meanwhile, Popovich reports to a higher power. Richard's path is proceeding as planned. Back at the kiosk, something happens. An alarm suddenly blares. His detection magic has been triggered. A scan reveals the source of the scent. It's on an application from someone named Stevenson. A name is called out, Richard, a level 2 mage. This crowd murmurs, questioning his qualifications. Richard stands unfazed by their doubts. He calmly opens the envelope. A single word shines back, passed. He arrives at the designated classroom. Two figures enter ahead of him. An instructor announces the arrival of Archmage Phil. A blonde student turns a look of surprise on his face. He recognizes Richard in the doorway. Richard looks back, his expression unreadable. He remembers the student from that night. This blonde student greets him and Richard apologizes for his past behavior, but the student waves it off, saying Richard seemed troubled. Richard then spots another familiar face, Minnie, and recalls their last meeting. From a balcony, the robed Archmage Phil observes the students. Richard looks up, finally seeing the man himself. Archmage Phil, the Academy's finest construct mage. This Archmage silently praises someone's eye for talent. He announces that only 3 students passed the exam. He addresses Richard's surprise directly. Richard realizes Stevenson, the student he scented, didn't pass. He had expected to finally meet the legendary mage's other student. Richard is confused by the Archmage's words. Then comes the reveal. All 3 of them are students of the legendary mage. He realizes the truth about the legendary mage's students. A hand rests on his shoulder. A smiling student finally introduces himself. His name is Stevenson, this youngest son of the solemn family. It all clicks into place. This is the man who hurt Aaron. This instructor calls the class to order. Stevenson stands calmly as tension fills the room. Richard debates his next move. He recalls a brutal lesson from his past, a technique called soul thread nail kill. It uses invisible threads and poison needles, a non-magical art undetectable in Deep Blue. His master asks what he's willing to pay for it. Back in the present, a dark aura ignites. Stevenson senses the sudden danger. Richard's power overflows, a shadowy silhouette. His dragon trait unleashes pure killing intent.